Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday, the show where we talk about whatever's on your mind. Wow. How was that? How was that for intro, Joe?
That was good.
Thanks.
You
Yeah.
did good. I was impressed. I was trying to catch him off guard.
Yeah, you did I mean, that was pretty solid. That should have caught me off guard, but it didn't.
You
I
just
guess
you're just you're just with it, man. You're just on
I'm
it.
I'm used to you doing that one to me.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, this is Don't Worry Wednesday, the show where I guess we laugh quite a bit, but it is ultimately about you guys, whatever you're going through in life, we're here to help. We aren't professional psychologists, psychiatrists, or police officers, or firemen, or fashionistas, or anything like that. But we can do our best to give you our best. We lived lives of great regret, and so now we can help you. No,
In a
honestly,
way, sometimes, yes.
sometimes, yes, sometimes that's true. We've lived lives and have struggled through them, so that we might be able to help you struggle less, or at least make use of your struggle. Um, Sometimes that's just how life is. You're going to struggle through it, and there's nothing you can do but keep on chugging through it. But we can be here to give you some encouragement, some friendly advice, and mostly just some love. That's what we're here to give.
Mhm.
So, anyways, that's our show. If you want us to talk about anything in particular, if you have a topic we'd like to talk about, or you'd like us to talk about, or a story you'd like to share, feel free to put that in the chat, or you can send us an email at dww@bss.studio, or you can send it to the forums, which is bss.studio. Princess has kindly already posted the links up there for you in the chat, so if you want to navigate to those things, she has made it easy for you. Speaking of Princess, Princess is our chat room hostess slash director, if you will. She keeps the show running smoothly in the background, giving us the readings as well as the information we need to keep on moving forward. Also, to tell us, hey, you guys are talking a little bit too much, so why don't you get the show on?
She
Also
does
with
do
me,
that. It's
yeah,
awesome.
also with me is Joe. This the not the star of the show. Star of the show is you guys, but Joe is
I'm the
the
other guy.
wisdom giver.
I'm the bottom
Joe's the
bunk.
other guy. Joe's the bottom bunk, which makes him the foundation, the base, that which we rest upon. And we are very grateful for his wisdom and all that he brings here. So
It's just that I'm a drummer, so I'm used to being in that position of like
yeah,
laying down foundations.
laying down the beat,
Yeah,
getting the rhythm.
yeah.
Absolutely nice,
Dude,
fantastic. Well, how are you guys doing today? How are you doing, Joe?
man, I'm so great. Like, seriously, Princess just leveled up on Discord.
Oh, did she?
Yup. When she
Huh?
posted, you just leveled up level 51, like Area 51.
Okay.
I don't know what that means, but but
I
I
guess
just
she's
That
an
saw,
means a
alien.
lot of
I guess that's what that
posts.
means. She's an alien, right?
huh?
She's an alien.
I don't think Princess is an alien.
I've just posted a lot. It's fine.
I don't even know what level I'm at. Is like, I'm just like, wow,
One.
level
I can show
51.
you how to do that later.
How to level up?
No, what level you are.
Oh, you can. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
level
I'm
up by posting.
okay. Gotcha. But I just saw that. I checked the link because I got a notification that
Ah,
there was the live stream that started, and so I clicked over there, and I was like, oh hey, Tatsu the bot, just leveled you up, princess. I was like,
congratulations, princess.
right
You've reached level
on.
51. How do you feel?
I wish the bot would stop making those
I wish-
messages.
yeah, I feel you. I 100% feel that.
And Joe, the
Um,
world doesn't need to know, you know?
What?
yeah,
The world needs to know you're at level 51.
yeah.
No.
The world needs to know. How are you doing today? How are you doing today, princess? Are you having a good day? Other than the, level 51 thing, which is a bummer.
Yes, I am. Thank you for asking.
Kat, are you doing awesome? I hope you are. It's good to see you.
Mhm.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
You guys look great.
Hello. Suddenly I've changed accents
Hey,
to a very strange one.
it's a different
Oh, no.
one. It's
Yeah,
not
it's
even
not what you're
real.
thinking. You're probably thinking, oh, that's from Europe. No, it's from outer space. So you were wrong again, and that's okay.
It's the outer space
So
force.
this is the natural how you sound in outer space when you go to outer space, or the NASA people, or the Russians. They try to put on an accent and sound like us, but they're actually speaking like this when they're up there. Which is not an accent,
But they're doing it wrong.
but they're all wrong. They're just they don't
They
know what
try.
they're doing up
They put in a good effort, but it's wrong.
there.
It's simply wrong.
Very well. Now we know.
The Venus accent. Yes, that's what it is, Swilk. It's the Venus accent.
Yeah, the closer you get to Venus, the more you sound like that, to a point where you become absolutely unintelligible and no one can understand you anymore. It sounds like, oh, well, and that was the national anthem of Venus. So
because
that's
the
right,
whole
Venus
planet is
nation.
one nation.
Yes, it is. The nation of Venus. It is one nation. They are well more united than we are.
Yes.
Let's just say that.
And they have a national anthem and a fight song.
Oh, wow. It's a lot easier when there's 0 people.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
All right.
Nice.
So what do we say we do the show?
I think that's a great idea.
Let's move on from that one.
You're awesome, Ryan.
Let's pretend that didn't happen. Yeah, thanks. You too. So, all right. Welcome to the show, guys. We're gonna just go down the list of the previous topics we've gotten. If you have posted before, awesome. We will hopefully get to yours today. And just feel free to put a message into the chat so we know that you're here. But again, if you have a topic for us, please leave one in the chat. We'd be more than excited to be able to cover it today. Or sometimes in the future, if there's too much. So anyways, we've got Ian Lam, Ezekiel Games, Dragon, Lord Francium, LG, Toast, Ash, Immature Success, Joe B, Amai, Baka, and Meow.
So far, I've seen 4 of these people at least.
That's incredible. That's a great show. Is it almost, it's like the last 3, right?
The last 3 and Ash, yes.
And Ash. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yep, Ash Wright is here. Awesome. Well,
so if we get started, we can get through them all.
Yeah, let's just try to see if we can get through them all today. That would be amazing.
If we do 4 topics in one show, then you know Princess is really doing her job well.
There you go.
Because she's because she's keeping us from just babbling.
Even just her presence here reminds me, hey, shape up, young man.
Yes,
you've got a job to do. Yeah.
Ash, you have to go for a few. Are you going to come back?
Yeah, that's totally cool. If you want us to do yours once you get back,
we totally can.
Yeah. All right. Well, then that settles that question.
All right.
Well. All right. Well, then let's just go to Amai. Amai's here.
Yes, Amai is here.
Fantastic. All right. We'll do that one. Amai, do you have to go as well? I'm sure good. Moving on down the list. All right. So this one is from Amai. Princess is going to get the link for us. When she does, feel free to click it, and that'll take you right to the topic, and you can read along. There it is. Awesome. So this is titled Getting Better. And Princess is going to do the honors of reading it for us.
Hey there. I'm currently trying to recover from, well, a lot of stuff actually, but in this topic, it's about my depression. I'm going to start off by saying that I'm bipolar. Short explanation, bipolar disorder, formerly called manic depression, is a mental health condition that causes extreme mood swings that can include emotional highs, mania or hypomania, and lows, depression. When you become depressed, you may feel sad or hopeless or lose interest or pleasure in most activities. School starts in about 2 weeks again, and I'm stressing out about that, but still I'm trying my best not to fall back into old habits. Recovery can be really hard, and I wanted to share some positive stuff I've learned from it and what helped me get better. What helped me were, well, telling myself that things will get better. I tried lying to myself, which really helped, because I told myself over and over again, and at some point I believed it, and it really got better. I also cut things out that were pulling me down. I ended toxic relationships, and now I'm slowly finding happiness in healthy relationships or friendships. I actually even got myself to finally learn how to play guitar, which has been a really big step for me since I'm really unmotivated most of the time. But even that is okay sometimes. Everything will be all right, and you just gotta believe in yourself. Sorry if this seems a little messy, by the way. Can't really get my thoughts straight at the moment. From Amai.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing with us a personal situation. It's got to be interesting. You know, I've never been diagnosed bipolar, which is good. Uh, so I can't necessarily completely grasp what it's like to live that life. But I can tell you that I've had my fair shares of ups and downs. I can tell you that I've gone months feeling just absolutely without interest in anything, and that sort of feeling of depression, um, and that sort of type of depression. And then I've gone just like, had those ups and downs that are daily as well throughout my life. But I think mostly I would not be able to say that I've experienced what it's like to have manic depression or bipolar disorder. So um, it's got to be a very interesting life to live, and something that you have to put up with. I think that it's interesting that you state that you lied to yourself in order to make yourself feel better, and it helped, which I think that's a very interesting thing. It's not necessarily a lie as it is a way of thinking, right? Because if you have a perception about the world and you say, well, that's no, life's going to be better. Life's, blah, 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 blah. Or, you try to change your negative view into a positive view, right? It's not necessarily lying to yourself. It's more so just saying, I desire this. And so that's what I'm going to focus on, right? Because here's the thing, whether you're bipolar or anything in life, because if you're completely 100% secure in your mind and sane and whatever, there's nothing wrong with you. This is still an issue, and that's this. What you focus on is how you're going to feel. How you think about the world, how you view the world, is how you're going to feel living inside of it. If you think the world is an awesome place, you're generally going to feel more awesome living inside of it, right? But if you think the world is full of crap and you dislike it and you notice all the bad things that are out there and that's what your focus is on, then you're going to feel like crap. You're going to feel all of that negativity inside, and you're going to turn it inwards, and then you're going to put it outwards for other people to experience, right? So I wouldn't say necessarily that you were so much lying to yourself as being desiring something better, right? And that is helpful. That is helpful because, again, what you focus on matters. You find a lot of people, like, this is a silly example, and maybe you won't relate to it, but you'll probably relate to it in a different way. Someone gets a new car, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, I got a new car. It's awesome. They start driving around and they start to notice everybody, like a ton of other people have that same car. They didn't notice so many people had that same car until they started driving one. And it's not that everyone just happened to buy a new car that day and it's the same one. No, it's that now your mind has been open to it and it starts focusing on it. And so you start to notice it more, right? So if you try to tell yourself things will get better, right? Your brain is going to be more focused on getting better. And so you start to notice opportunities that lead towards a better life, right? So all of that is to buy ultimately time for Joe to talk. I just wanted to open it up and give you some brief thoughts. But I think that it's super awesome. I think it's awesome that you have hope, because if you despair, then that's like game over. I think that it's really great. So keep it up. Keep up the good work. And yeah, I'm gonna give it over to Joe and see what he's got to say.
Thank you, Ryan, and thank you, Amai, for the topic. This is great, actually, and I can really relate. There have been times in my life, I'm like Ryan. I've never been diagnosed as bipolar, But I can remember times and seasons in my life when I felt like I would have days where I would go completely through roller coasters of emotion, like, just because, like, in the morning maybe I'm, upset because I got to get up, and so I'm naturally kind of in that little funk, morning time.
Yeah.
Which isn't really depression, it's just tired, right? So okay, so we'll cancel that one, and then maybe then everything kind of picks up a little bit and I have a good conversation or something, and I'm excited for a while, and then all of a sudden something pops into my head, and it's one of those stressful things that I know I have to deal with, that I don't want to have to deal with, and I've been avoiding it, but I realize I have to. And then, interestingly enough, that will just take me right down into a pit sometimes. It really kind of depends on where I'm at, kind of what I'm going through in my life. But there have been times when I am just very, very affected by the thoughts that go through my head. And sometimes it's hard because we can't always control the thoughts that just pop into our head, right? We can rein them in and decide whether to accept or reject them. But when we're in those moments of, emotional being impressionable, right?
Yeah, I don't know what the word is.
I don't know either.
Good job turning it around on that one. I would have failed miserably.
Well, when we're impressionable, like that, and that one single thought can just throw us off. I've been in that state before, so I really, really appreciate you bringing this up, because I think you're not alone. I'm not alone. I think this is something that happens to a lot of people, and I'm really glad that Ryan started with what he did, and he probably that says a lot, because truly what we focus on matters. What we decide to feed our mind matters. And so I love that I'm with Ryan. I love that you said you tried lying to yourself, which really helped. I told myself over and over again, and at some point I believed it, and it really got better. That's great. And that's evidence of what Ryan was saying is true. That what we tend to focus on is is the direction we tend to go in. Right? And that's great. So the question then becomes, what animal are you going to feed in your mind? You've got the positive wolf and you got the negative wolf. And whichever wolf you feed is going to grow. And we've all fed the negative wolf. We've all done that. I still catch myself doing that. And it'll grow. It'll grow into a monster if you're not careful. So I think that's great that you told yourself things are going to get better. Here's the thing. Things always change. For sure. I know I have found solace in these words. This too shall pass. Whatever I'm going through, whatever I'm thinking, whatever the thought process is, whatever the situation is physically that's going on, it's going to pass. Whether it's good or it's bad. There's going to come a time when this situation is over. And sometimes we don't want it to be over because this is a great thing that we're dealing with. We're like, man, I could be like this for the rest of my life and it'd be just awesome. But you know what the thing is if you were like that for long enough, it'd get boring. And then it wouldn't be quite as awesome. So then we go into a darker time. We go into a time where maybe we're sad, or maybe it's painful. Maybe somebody's mad at us, or maybe we're angry with them, and who knows, maybe there's conflict, whatever. That will pass as well. And so I always remind myself of that, or at least try to, that this too shall pass. This feeling, this situation, there's going to come a time when it's over. And we can either celebrate the fact that it's going to be over, or we can mourn the fact that it's going to be over, or we can just accept the fact that it's going to be over and look forward to what's coming next. Because whether it's good or it's bad, there's value in it. And that's the real trick. It's easy to find value in the good times that we have, in the satisfying times that we have, and, like the close friends and all that. It's easy to find value in that. It's a little bit more difficult, and it might take a little bit more time to find the value in the negative events that happen to us, the painful events that happen to us. But the value is there. And sometimes it takes an outside perspective. Ryan has done this for me, even recently, where he's helped me gain some perspective in a situation that helped me understand a little bit better the value of this particular painful situation. That, it's not a waste. In fact, it would be more valuable. It's more valuable a lot of times to go through the painful, to go through the hurt, than it is to go through the happy time. If we handle it correctly. And with that perspective, it gets a lot easier to try. Because, man, sometimes you just want to give up. And as you're starting school, I understand you're stressed. I understand all that. I'm stressed too. My kids are going back to school. And we're not sure what school's going to look like for them this year.
Yeah.
But, yep. Understand. And, I'll just bring you back to what Ryan said at the beginning. What you focus on as the direction you're going to point yourself in. And so if you can keep that focus on, hey, this is going to be a great year, we're going to have fun, there's going to be good times and bad times, but you know what? It's all going to be valuable. That'll keep you, hopefully, at least in a joyful, good-spirited mood. And that'll make things a lot easier to skate through. So, with that, I'm turning it over to Ryan. Ryan? Take it away.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Joe. Yeah. and by the way, Joe, you give me perspective on things all the time too. So I appreciate that.
Well, you're welcome. And thank you.
Yeah. I love you.
I love you too.
Awesome. Good. You better. All right. So
doggone it.
Yeah. I'll beat you up. I couldn't even.
I'll beat some love into you, man.
Yeah. It's honestly, I would try to beat you up and then I would just hurt myself.
I don't know about that. You'd land a few good ones, I'm sure.
Well, maybe. So anyways, you said school is going to start in 2 weeks, and you're really stressed about it. I get it. And another thing you said that's really important is you're trying your best not to fall back into old habits. I think one of the best things you can do to keep yourself from falling back into old habits is to attack them. And that sounds a little bit weird, but if you want to, here's an example. This is something that I got the chance to do when I was in, near the second to last year of school, when I had a big change in my life. I had an idea of what the best version of me looked like. right? I had an idea of what I wanted to be, you know. And it took a long time to figure that out, but I could start to clearly see, like, oh, when I'm at my best, this is what I look like. When I'm at my best, this is what I do, right? This is how I act, etc. And then I just pretended to be that person. I wasn't that person. I wasn't that person, but I pretended to be that person. But that person was the best me. And so that pretend eventually became slowly more and more like reality, right? So, one of the best things you can do for yourself to make sure you don't fall into old habits is to basically do the things that make you proud of yourself. Try to be that person that's on top of it. That's the best version of you. And I understand that that's a little cliche, but it's true. When you start to focus on that, when you start to focus on how you can be better and act like it in every moment, even though it can be stressful, even though it can be possibly humiliating or embarrassing, to do that creates peace in yourself. Why? When we are not when we look at ourselves and we don't like what we see, when we look at ourselves and we are not satisfied, it is not possible to be at peace. But if you are capable of looking at yourself and being proud of yourself and being at peace, you will keep depression away and you will find yourself at peace in such a way that whatever comes, it's a lot easier to handle, right? If you start to fall back on one thing with who you are and trying to be a good person, right? If you start to fall back, you start to dislike yourself. And the more you start to dislike yourself, the easier it is to give in to things that are bad habits, right? But if you can focus on continuing to do those things that make you proud of yourself, you will bolster yourself and have more and more reasons. And it'll be easier and easier not to fall back into those old habits, whether they be social habits, like how you interact with people or stay away from them or whatever, to habits like smoking or any other kind of addiction, right? Um, Procrastination, for example, as well. So I think that would be my best advice for that. If you want to really make sure you don't fall back into old habits, you don't have to focus. You don't have to focus on the habit exactly, but to focus on yourself will help you conquer those old habits. You know, Joe and I were talking a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying he's going to, he already did stop every addiction he can find in himself, and that started with coffee. And his reasoning was because if he can stop one addiction, right, the rest of them will crumble easier and easier and easier as he goes. So just one at a time, knocking them down, and just getting the first one out of the way gets the rest. Just the whole wall starts to crumble,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And coffee,
And
incidentally, was the biggest, longest standing, hardest.
yeah,
Yeah. So I was like,
but you knocked that out
that's
of
the
the
number
park.
one. Yeah. It's 2.5 weeks now.
Dang, that's awesome, man. I'm so proud of you.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you get off of that? What was your method?
Stop. Well,
Nice,
no,
nice.
I actually, I had to cut back. I had to because the headaches are terrible with caffeine addiction and the withdrawal. That's what you deal with. But it's only a couple days, and so I made sure I was gonna. Okay, I had a couple days off. So I had Saturday and Sunday that I was taking off that week, and so Friday I had coffee. But that whole week I'd been stepping it down to, like, 1 cup instead of two, and then a half a cup instead of one, and then like a quarter of a cup, and then, just a little bit by the time I got to Friday. And on Friday I had so little that the headache started Friday afternoon. And actually that was the worst of it. And then Saturday I was just kind of like in this daze, whatever. And then Sunday it was a little bit better, and then Monday fine. It's a few days to go through.
Mm-hmm. And you've been clean.
Clean from caffeine. Yeah, right. It's not, but it's
Yeah.
an addiction, So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that's an example of something. If you're worried about falling back into old habits, look at the ones that you have now. Look at what you can knock out of the way, because that's the wall will start crumbling if you do that. Just because that's the way our minds work. We become more, you know, if we have a little bit of success, we become more confident in ourselves, and with that confidence, it's a lot easier just to take that next step. And so, yeah, absolutely, it's a great route. So, um, yeah, and for stress, being in school, I would say, yeah, that is stressful. Um, but if you can, again, if you can be on top of yourself, if you can be proud of yourself for the things that you're doing, um, stress isn't always bad, but what will happen is stress will pay off, because you can have stress and it does nothing for you, but you can have stress that is very helpful. um, I tend never to get stressed, like, ever. So I can't really speak on it that much. However, I can say that stress can be helpful or it can be terrible. If stress is causing you to seize up and not take action, or causing you to take actions but on in all the wrong ways, um, you know, that's a problem. But stress can be fruitful if you allow it to be. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, Joe, did you have anything else you want to add?
Uh, yes, I wanted to say sorry for mispronouncing your name. And I believe it is it right that it's Amay?
Oh, is it not Amai?
It is
It's
not
Amay.
Amay.
Okay.
Um,
Sorry about that.
so yes, Amay. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
All right, we win the prize. Sorry for that. But we do the best we can, and
Yeah.
we think. And seriously, if we ever pronounce your guys' names wrong,
Mhm.
correct us.
Yeah. You guys probably think my name is Static P. It's Stay Tyke. So you've probably been getting it wrong.
You thought my name
Right,
was Joe. It is.
yeah, no, it is. Hey, if you guys have been calling me Static P, that's totally fine. Or Ryan, obviously.
Yeah. No, I really don't have anything else. I think I'm
Yeah.
proud of you, Ame. I think
Yeah,
that's
thank you.
really really great because, well, I will say this: I'm proud of you. The way that you have smoothed the road for yourself by lying to yourself, or actually, like Ryan was saying, you just focused on what you desired. You focused there and allowed yourself to follow that. And I'm really proud of you, and I'm impressed. It inspires me to do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially dealing with something like bipolar disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Again, mad props to you. I think that's so awesome. Nicely done. And keep on going. All this stuff that we said, you're probably like, yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah, obviously. You know it all. But it's great to have that encouragement. And we just want to encourage you to keep on going because you're doing great. And so keep it up.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well,
Yes, you're great, Ame.
fantastic.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you for
thank
the
you, May.
topic.
Mm-hmm. Let's do the next one. Ash, you have returned. Is that correct? I mean, I see you have posted like literally seconds ago, but I just want to clarify that you're good for us to do your topic.
Rianne, yes, Rianne.
Yeah, yeah, Rian. I had a
Rianne.
Japanese friend who who could easily pronounce Ryan, but he insisted that he would call me Rian. And I was
Rianne.
like, dude, whatever. Whatever.
Hey.
I'm fine with it. No, it's Rian. It was Rian. That's
Oh,
what it was.
Rianne.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That
Because they
that
wouldn't say ah. They
that
don't really
works
have the
too.
ah sound in Japanese.
That works.
Rian. Awesome. You have risen from thy dead. Um, well, okay,
We
so
are so glad. We're glad to have you.
yeah, yeah. So thy means your. Um, so that means you have risen from my dead, which I
That's
appreciate
right.
that you consider yourself owned by me when you have passed.
Oh my.
I mean, I am greatly honored, but I don't think I own that. I don't think I deserve that. Um, anyways, I'm sure uh, it was all just in fun. Anyways, so this is from Ash. Princess has put the link in the chat for you guys, so you can feel free to click on it if you want to read along. It's titled "Books and Fables," and have a go at it.
Hello, I have two small topics today. The first one is looks / in-person human interaction. Lately, I've been realizing that I hate interacting with people I'm not super close with. I also don't want people looking at me for some reason. Earlier today, I was walking around in my yard. Some people walked on by the other side of the street, and I hid behind a tree. It's not that I'm self conscious about my looks, but for some reason, I just don't want people to look at me. The other topic I have is about fables. The main one I'm thinking about is the 4-leaf clover thing. As a kid, I used to love searching for them. When I found one, I got really excited. As a high schooler, I still find myself looking for them, even though I know they don't really mean anything. Yet I still find myself collecting them, and I don't know why I keep collecting them. I even sent a few to my boyfriend, thinking that maybe if I send them to someone I love, it'll give them luck. But deep down, I know it's not going to work. I don't know if this makes sense. Sorry if it doesn't. From Ash.
Thank you so much, Ash. This is great, and it's relatable.
Mm-hmm.
I love what you've said here about the four clovers, and even just kind of like hiding behind a tree. I totally get it. I think that you and I share a personality, a similar personality, because I, I love people. I'm totally open with people, but there's that part of me that's just like, I love to not be seen. So it's totally relatable, totally. And on the four clover thing, I think that's thanks for sharing that with us. I think that's fun. And sometimes it's not necessarily the belief in the luck, as it is just something that is enjoyable to you that you want to share with your significant other.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Even if it won't give them luck, and maybe you're like, well, hopefully maybe it could, that'd be fun, but honestly, it's just showing, part of something you enjoy about life. Finding a 4-leaf clover is cool. I've found maybe 2 in my life, and as a kid, and I'm just like, whoa, it's so cool, I'm so lucky. Why? I don't believe it's luck that it'll give me, but the fact that I found one was exciting because it's so rare. And I think probably both of the ones I found were not natural. I'm pretty sure somehow one of the leaves got eaten, but regardless, um, I feel you, and I think that there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Just finding one is exciting, and sharing that excitement, I think, is a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, there are many things in life that we don't have to believe in. For example, I don't believe in Norse mythology, but it's still fun. It's still fun to read and get into, right? So, anyways, with that said, I'm gonna give it over to Joe to see what he's got to say, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, first of all, I'm impressed that you can actually find 4-leaf clovers. You have the tenacity to look through that many clovers to find the 4-leaf ones, because
and the eyes
they
to
are
see it
super
when you
rare.
see it.
Yeah,
Like
I
my
can
eyes would
remember
just
looking
completely
for them.
look over it.
Yep, and actually, I remember I never saw one until I was an adult, and one of my kids found one and showed it to me, and then I was like, they actually exist?
They're real?
I thought
Yeah.
thought that was like I thought that was made up. But
Yeah, totally.
but yeah, so you've got so I'm with you, Raka. 4-leaf clovers are real, and then I actually saw one that wasn't like, my brother would fake them, you know. He would get an extra leaf and he'd try and like stick it on there and hold it on there, or like get it, so it'd stay long enough for me to look at it and go, "Oh my gosh." And then,
Yeah.
and then throw it away real quick before it fell off. But why didn't you keep that? Oh man, I just dropped it.
It's better luck if you throw it over your shoulder like salt, right? That's how that goes.
Yes. But I also want to applaud your boyfriend, because I see in the chat he said he thought it was sweet, but I know he doesn't believe it'll give him luck. And that is really the key with the 4-leaf clover, and you giving them to your boyfriend. It's a gesture that, that it's something that's special to you.
Mm-hmm.
And to share it with someone, shows that that person also is special to you. And when they see that, that's awesome. When they recognize that, that's a really, really good thing. There have been people that I've given gifts to, and they've just throwing them away. And I've worked hard on them.
Yeah, that's rough.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. We, for the past like 3 weeks, we've talked about my origami flowers.
Nice.
Yep.
I gave,
and I got, here's one in progress.
Nice.
But, so I made one for this person. I gave it to him. And they had it for like a day, and then it was gone. And I was like, what happened? Where'd it go? Oh, it's just paper. Like, why does that need to be laying around? Oh, okay. Note taken, right?
Yeah.
Don't give them any more of that. Right? So, but anyway, for this, like that is a very, very wonderful gesture that you share, and I'm glad that your boyfriend had that response. That, he accepted it and he thought it was sweet. And even though, yes, he didn't believe in the superstition, which is proper and appropriate to not believe in superstition, it is still a joyful thing. And that's awesome. As far as the human interaction thing goes, I'm with you. I'm an introvert by nature. That I like being by myself. I don't like people looking at me. I don't like people talking to me. I would even have a hard time doing the guy head nod thing. Like when you see a guy sees another guy and they go, that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe girls do it too.
or it's the other way.
Oh yeah, there's that one.
So that's usually only guy to guy, but I used to do that with my sister, aka my brother's wife.
Uh-huh.
I'd just go around and go, because it's like sup, and it's just so weird. It's like, why that gesture doesn't belong in that relationship. But that's what made it so fun. Sup. She would do it back. It was awesome.
Sister-in-law.
Yeah, sister-in-law. Yeah.
Yeah. Ash, you say, I just give an awkward smile and look away. Yep.
Mm.
But I'm totally with you. But I trained myself to be better at that. For my friends, for people I'm close to, absolutely. And, I'll talk to them, and the closer the friend, the more I'll share, whatever. But, when it's somebody you don't know, it's not like, they're probably just as nervous as you are. That was one of the things that I had to get through my head, was that everybody feels the same way. Well, at least half of them, because half of us are introverts and half of us are extroverts. It's about split down the middle.
But even extroverts have those moments too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. People they don't know. Yep, you're absolutely right, Princess. But yes, so we all feel that nervousness. But you know what's interesting? Every single one of us, we sometimes we want to be left alone. That's for sure. And if somebody reaches out to us and we want to be left alone, we can grunt and go on our way, and they'll probably leave us alone. Unless we did something to offend them or whatever, But but many times we really want that human connection. There's a lot of times when you're going through your day, maybe it's a hard day, maybe it's a tiring day, maybe it's hot out, which Ryan would love it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of hot, and it's been hot the last few days. But anyway.
Hot enough.
Hotter than Kiribati.
Yeah, it's been hotter than Kiribati, I guess.
That's for sure. But we all we would like it if somebody noticed us. If somebody smiled and said hi in a kind manner. Most of the time. We would like that. And everybody out there is thinking the same thing. I would really like that if somebody would smile and be nice to me. So why don't we just do that? Why don't we be that person? That everybody else would think, When I'm out, maybe I want to be left alone. But you know what? If somebody's going to interact with me, I'd like them to be nice and smile and be accepting of me. We can be that person. It's not hard. And I have a default statement that works because sometimes it's just breaking the ice. And, what do you say to break the ice? I don't know. I just started trying stuff at one point in time. And so finally I landed on, hey, you having fun today? I'll say that to the gas station person. I'll say that to the person at McDonald's when I used to go to McDonald's. I'd say that to whoever, Usually I don't say it to the person that I'm passing the shopping cart at the grocery store or whatever. Usually I just smile and give them a sup.
So no, you don't.
No, I don't actually. But I'll smile,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll smile from inside. I'll try to not to make it a smile, just surface level smile. I'll try and smile from deep down below the subcockle region of my heart.
Anatomy.
Yes. Anatomy.
Thanks for that.
Yes. But anyway, we can do that. And you can totally do that. It's not wrong to be an introvert, and it's not wrong to want to be left alone. Not in any regard. But if you are desiring that human connection, I would say at least 80% of the time, the people around you, most of them are also desiring that. But nobody wants to be the one to make the first move. Nobody wants to make eye contact and smile. We're all a little bit afraid. We're all self-conscious. We're all a little bit self-absorbed. All of us. It's okay. But when we can recognize that, then we realize that we can be a light to the people around us as we run into them. And that's a beautiful thing. So I'd encourage you, if you feel like it, try it. See how you like it. If you don't feel like it, you don't have to. It's okay. But anyway, that's what I got. Ryan, I'll turn it to you.
Well, thanks. Thanks for starting off like that, Joe. I think that you said a lot of the things I would have said, so I appreciate that. So I think I have something that's an interesting idea for you. Now, I don't know exactly what your personality or temperament is. If human interaction is ever going to be something that you really, I mean, we all like human interaction, especially, right? Like you said, with someone that's close, right? Like your boyfriend or any other good close friend. But you have so many people that are outside of that. Here's something I would encourage you to consider just as an idea. I'm not telling you to do it, but just think about it and see if it seems profound. Maybe you look at that person who you don't know, right? And you say, I really don't want to interact with them because they're not someone that I'm close to. But if they were someone you were close to, you would interact with them. You would want to interact with them. So therefore, the only thing that's different is that you're not close. And it's not the human, it's the closeness. So what if instead, when you look at that person and say, instead of saying, I don't really want to talk to them, I don't want them to look at me, I don't really want to look at them, I just want them to pass by and ignore me, and I'll ignore them. That'll be great. Instead of doing that, you look at that person and say, I wonder if I can get close to them and approach them. Now that's really hard because I know what that's like. But if you can look at that person with a loving heart and say, yes, but if I was close with them, I would want to talk with them. But I'm not yet, so I have to make that a thing. It's up to me to decide, do I make that a thing or not? And that's all it is, a one decision thing. All I have to do is go up and introduce myself Actually, you don't even have to introduce yourself. You just go up and you start a conversation. Like Joe said, hey, you having fun today? You know, I've met a lot of people walking down the street who weren't expecting to encounter a conversation, and nor was I. But you happen to go down the street, you see someone, somehow a conversation gets sparked, and you're sitting there talking for 30 minutes. And you're like, wow, that was an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk away and you're like, well, that was interesting. Um, but now the next time you see that person, you don't feel so it doesn't feel the same, you know? It doesn't feel the same. And if you really struck a chord with the person, if you really struck a chord with that person, you're going to want to see him again.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times, it can be hard to strike that chord with somebody because you're looking for things that you're interested in together, things that you share in common, right? But here's something that's really interesting. If you can be a kind of person that really likes to learn new things, then anybody with any interest can be someone that you'd like to get to know more. Because everybody's filled with all sorts of different passions and different knowledge and different experiences that they'd love to share with someone. But a lot of times they don't have anybody to share it with, especially someone who doesn't know anything about it. You know, people love to talk about things that they're passionate about, especially, well, they like to talk about it with people who are passionate about it as well. But they also like to talk to people who are new to it, right? Because then they get to share all their experiences like it's something new, right? So you can be both of those things without having any prior knowledge. You can be like, oh, that sounds really interesting. Please tell me more, right? And that will spark up a relationship with that person, right? But you have to train yourself, I think, to be open to all of this. But I will say, Ash, it doesn't really matter. You don't have to go and be good at conversation. You don't. I mean, it's important to be good at socializing with others for those who are close to you. That's important. But you don't have to be good at making friends with strangers. And there's nothing wrong with the feeling of going, you know what? I just want them to pass me by and not notice me. Because that's just your personality. That's just who you are. And that's fine. But that doesn't mean it doesn't change throughout your life. And doesn't mean it can't change. And it doesn't mean it's not good to change. But it is totally fine the way it is. I think it's important for myself to always try to figure out where can I improve. Is that the most loving action? And I've always in debate with myself about those things. So it forces me to take on roles that I'm not comfortable with. I used to be 100% the same way, Ash. I did not really want to interact with anybody unless they were close with me.
Mm-hmm.
But as I started to desire to grow and change and so on, I found myself being led more and more towards being able to love on people no matter whether I'm close or not. And that was a big deal to me. It doesn't mean that it has to be a big deal to you, right? Because we're all designed differently on purpose. We're all designed to do different things, to feel different things, etc. So my whole point isn't to tell you what to do. It's just to invite you to look at it. Remember, my first opening statement in all of this was that if it feels profound and it feels like, yeah, I should do that, I should try that, then by all means, try it. Get out of your comfort zone. Get awkward. Embrace the awkward. Love it. If you can get comfortable with the awkward, man, life gets easy. It's awesome. Just take it on. You're like, yeah, this is super awkward. No one's like, we were in the middle of a conversation and now it's just gone. And we're just standing here like, yeah, what do we do? And in that moment, if you can be like, yes, I did it. It's so awkward. I know. I love it. Yes. Everyone else is freaking out. It's great. If you can be inspired by that moment, man, life is going to be awesome. But if that moment owns you, then you don't get to own the moment. Does that make sense? If that moment owns you and you surrender to that awkwardness, then you don't get to own that moment.
Ah,
So you gotta own the moment when that happens.
own
But
it, man.
anyways, but like I said, we aren't designed the same. We're not supposed to be. So I just want you to understand that, Ash, that's perfectly fine and normal. I would say, obviously, if you're not displeased by the way that you look, you're not hiding because you're afraid of anything. You're just you just really don't you just want to avoid conversation. That's fine. That's fine. But I just wanted to be the kind of person that can invite you into it and say, "Hey, give it a shot just to see." Because it might be something you find enjoyment in. It might be something you find is really a true part of you that has yet to come out, but hasn't yet come out, right? I know that that was the case for me, but it might not be for you. We're designed for different things. But anyways, that's what I got. Joe, did you have anything else you want to follow up with?
Um, Ash, I love you. You're awesome.
Thanks, straight.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I saw in the chat here that if I cared deeply about my looks, then I wouldn't have shaved the side of my head or dyed my hair red. Hey, sweet. So
Yeah.
you're making statements. That's cool. And that's actually a pretty cool style, the shaving of the side of the head, I think.
Yeah, that's really. I remember the first time I saw that. I was like probably like 20. I was like, "Whoa, you can do that?"
Yeah, people do that.
Whoa.
I knew one guy who was a really good bass player, and he dyed like a strip of his hair blonde. It was like a mohawk, but it was like kind of on the
Oh,
side.
okay. Yeah.
And it looked pretty cool, but the poor guy got called a skunk a lot because he had black hair and he had this white stripe, even though it wasn't in the middle, it was just off to the side. He had this white, mohawk looking stripe that went from front to back. And so
It was endearing. Skunk is one of the most cutest animals of all of the forest critters.
They are very adorable.
They might be a little stinky, but they're super cute.
Yep. But anyway, I see most of the people I see are 10 plus years older than you. You tried starting a convo with a somewhat old man walking by and it was very uncomfortable. I understand that. And you know what? We're not telling you to put yourself in danger. Okay?
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't put yourself in a situation where, you feel dangerous or uncomfortable like to that level, right? But there is there's wisdom in what Ryan was saying, and that is, if we can learn to live in awkwardness, if we can learn to embrace that awkwardness, man, so many of the things in life that used to be stressful aren't stressful anymore. Because we have this new level of stress, a stress threshold, I guess you could say.
There you go, yeah.
Like we have this new threshold of what we can handle because we're able to embrace that awkward moment. And that's pretty cool. I remember the first time Ryan said that, I was like, I need to learn to do that. And I'm still trying. But I'm still self-conscious as they come, especially depending on what day it is, I think.
There.
But anyway, so, and go at your own pace. You got your whole life to try stuff. But why not start? Why not start moving that bar? I remember a friend of mine and I, we would set goals together. And we wouldn't hit them. And then we would set them again and we wouldn't hit them. And we'd set them again and wouldn't hit them. And finally we were like, you know what? Let's dial it back and start with something we can hit. Because then it'll start building some confidence. And, with that, we'll be able to maybe hit some of these bigger ones. And that actually works. Boxers do that all the time. In fact, boxing managers do that. They line up fights for their people with people they know are not as good as their fighter. So they arrange these fights, and it's just so they can get some wins to get their confidence up. So then when they're actually going into a bigger match, they have that confidence and they're ready for it, right? And so if starting conversations with middle-aged men, or old men is uncomfortable, you don't have to do it. I'm not telling you to do it. But if you see an opportunity to, and I wouldn't say you're required to start conversations, but sometimes it's really good to be a light in someone's life. It really is. To be a bright spot in their life. And if you have an opportunity to do that for somebody, whether you know them or not, it'd be really cool to take that opportunity. And you will feel really good about it on the other side. In the beginning, you'll be afraid. You might be scared that it'll be awkward. You might be scared that, something bad might happen. You might say the wrong thing, whatever. You know what? Sometimes saying the wrong thing is actually the right thing. If that makes sense. There have been times when I have not said the thing I was meaning to say, but it turned out that was exactly what that person needed right then. It's really strange like that, but that happens. So, you're awesome, Ash.
Mm-hmm.
And
Indeed.
you have a great potential here of things you can try. And I think it's great that you share things that you're interested in with your boyfriend. And I hope you continue that. And I hope that he does that with you as well. And that you guys share those things that you love with one another. Because that'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
So keep it up. You're amazing. And that's all I got.
Yeah, I second everything Joe just said. Way to go, Ash. Stay amazing. But yeah, you know what? We're actually doing it. We're cruising along. We're at 105 in, or maybe a little bit later. So yeah, thank you so much, Ash. Let's move on to the next one. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do.
Yeah. Is Baka still with us, or did they leave?
Baka.
Baka.
You're amazing.
Baka. Okay. I'm just going to go down this list. If you are here, feel free to put any kind of message in the chat just to let us know. Oh, sweet. Baka is here. So we've got Ian Lam, Ezekiel Games, Dracon, Lord Francium, LG, Toast, Ash. Oh, wait, Ash we just did. Immature, Success, Joby, Baka, and Meow. And for sure, it looks like Baka is here. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to do this.
All right.
All right, everybody shut up. I've made a decision.
What is my birthday? My birthday is February 22nd.
No, it's not.
It is February 22nd, and I'll be 29 again.
Nice. Welcome to 29, man.
Yeah.
It's a good year.
It is.
At that point, I'll be older than you.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right now you're maybe a little bit older than me, but when that comes, when that day comes, I'll be older than you.
Perfect.
The miracle of time warping or something. I'm not quite sure how that works.
I'm glad.
I guess by the miracle of lying.
That might be better.
Yeah. Awesome. Well.
Hey, we got a topic.
Perfect.
Posted in the chat, don't we?
Princess has posted the link. Feel free to click it if you want to read along. This is from Baka. It is titled Dragging from the Past. Interesting. And it reads as follows.
Ever since I switched schools for the 7th grade and on, I knew I made mistakes. These mistakes were never major, even events that don't have any impact on anything. I still seem to look back and dwell on it as if it's something negative, and I feel like it's eating away at my general emotions each day. How do I quit dreading on dumb and insignificant memories from the past?
Mm.
From Baka.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've heard this is an interesting thing. I think a lot of people have heard this. People on their deathbed, I guess not on their deathbed, but people say like die with no regrets, basically. I expect to die with many regrets.
Mm.
Um, and that's because I believe there's a right and wrong. And I believe that I am not perfect. And I believe that I can do better. Right. So I'm going to have regrets. And that's fine. Um, I think it's one of those things where you sort of have to look at it and unfortunately just have to come to terms with it. The fact is, we can't go into the past, right? We can't change anything. But one thing we can do is make our past work for our future. And that is by taking the events and learning from them. At the very least, I know Joe's going to say probably a lot on forgiveness, and it's going to be awesome because Joe always does, and it's really great.
You're just teeing that ball right up for me, aren't you? Just putting.
Yeah, I'm putting it right out there for you to whack. But if you have nothing to take away, if you feel like no matter what you can't forgive yourself for whatever reason, always keep in the back of your mind you can take the bad and make it good, right? You can take those and at least you've learned something from it. You've learned not to do something, or you've learned to do something next time, right? Sometimes there is no next time. But I think honestly, if I'm going to be 100% real with you, forgiveness is one of the greatest miracles that has ever blessed this earth. That we have an idea of what forgiveness is and that we don't have to hold a vengeance upon others and ourselves. It is absolutely crucial to sustaining any relationship because at some point or another, we're going to hurt each other. So forgiveness is super important, right? And you have a relationship with yourself. And you got to keep that strong. So, anyways, without any further ado, I'm going to give it over to Joe and see what he's got to say.
Well, I appreciate you saying what you were saying, Ryan, because you're right. I am going to talk about that. But first, Baka, I'm going to say, man, I can relate to that. I do this all the time. Stuff from when I was a kid, even. Like when I was in elementary school, I'll remember it. It'll just like come up and it'll pop into my head. And it might be dumb. Something I did that was really dumb. And then all of a sudden, you know, like I was talking about in the first topic, depending on my emotional impressionability at that point in the day, it might send me into a funk. It's happened. You know, before I can catch it and be like, that is so stupid. There's nothing I can do about that anymore, obviously. It didn't matter then, like you're talking about here. These mistakes were never major, even events that don't have any impact on anything. I still seem to look back and dwell on it if it's something negative. And I feel like it's eating away my general emotions each day. Man, I know the feeling. And that's really tough to deal with. So the question is how to deal with that, right? Well, you can try logic. If you're a logically minded person, you can try logic. And you can say, you know what? I have no control over that anymore. There's nothing I can do about it. In fact, it doesn't even matter anymore. At the time, it didn't even matter much then. Like you were saying here, they were insignificant, right? They weren't very significant events anyway. So it didn't have much of a impact on somebody, and it didn't, hey, it was a mistake. And we all make them. Every single one of us makes mistakes. And a mistake is not a sin, necessarily. Right? Now, I don't know how you feel, that word can kind of bring some connotations and sometimes make people revile and all this kind of stuff, right? But honest mistakes, or even mistakes we make when we're trying to do the right thing and we mess it up and end up, doing the wrong thing. I'm the king of that. Let me tell you. You can just ask my kids. I've got them programmed. Because I would seriously, I would try everything. I would try so hard to do the right thing. I'd try to be doing the thing that was going to be best, that was going to make people happy and be peace and all this kind of stuff and be great. Nope. Messed it up again. Okay, well, I guess that's what I'm good at. I'm good at messing things up. And it got to be kind of funny. And I remember saying that to him one time in front of my mother-in-law. That was funny too. Because, I said, hey guys, what's Dad good at? And they're like, messing things up. And I'm like, that's right. And my mother-in-law was like, Joel, that's not a good thing for you to tell him. That's not a good thing to teach him. And I'm like, why not? It's true. For one. For one. But the other thing is I don't want them to go through life. We kind of made a joke about it. We made it fun. Dad's good at messing it up. Yep, that's good. That's relatable because everybody messes things up. And it's fine. And if we try and think that we're supposed to be some kind of perfect, example of human existence, that we will have a much harder time relating to other people because everybody has something that they've messed up. Everybody has little insignificant things they've messed up. And I would say probably most people have big, significant things that they've messed up. I have had a few moments in my life that were significant screw-ups that hurt people a lot, including myself and the people around me. And you know what? There's nothing I can do about it now. Not a single thing. It is now outside of my circle of influence. I don't know if you've heard me talk about this. You probably have. We have a circle of concern and a circle of influence. And the more we get those two to line up, so the things that we're concerned about are things that we actually can do something about, we feel at peace inside. The more we're concerned with things that we have absolutely no control over, which is why I don't like watching the news.
It's exactly the example I was thinking of. Poor
Honestly, I have no control over most of the things that happen. That's just filling my brain with things to be concerned about that I can't do a darn thing about. And that just causes unrest inside. And I don't have time for that. I got things to do. I got other things to focus on. I mean, seriously, in my day-to-day life, I got enough challenges. I don't need to add more that I can't do anything about, right? like, come on. So anyway, how do we get past it then? Well, you can logic yourself. You can do that kind of stuff. You can take these explanations and try that. And if it's still, generally honest mistakes, we might not need to necessarily forgive ourselves for it, but maybe we do. But how do you forgive yourself? I remember running into that because it was like, I started learning how to forgive other people and how to, just say, yes, what they did was wrong. What they did was wrong, and it was hurtful, and it hurt me. and it probably hurt other people too. But I forgive them. They're still responsible for what they did. It's not like they're getting off the hook. The world has a way of bringing things back around, if you haven't noticed. It's been called karma, right? But it's true. You know? So then I got really good at that, saying what they did to me was wrong. It really upset me. And you know what? I forgive them. I release them from my upsetness about this. I'm not going to hold it against them anymore. I will be free from this. Because that's what forgiveness is. When we forgive another person, we free ourselves from the bondage of the thing they did to us. For as long as we stay mad at them or upset with them or hurt, well, sometimes hurts can take a while to heal. I understand. But as long as we hold something against somebody and don't forgive them, we're in bondage to the thing that they did to hurt us. So we're now hurting ourselves on account of what they did to hurt us. We're like doubling down on the hurt. Unnecessarily, really. And it can slow us down. It can cause us to stumble. It can cause us to develop bad habits. It can cause all kinds of things. Lack of forgiveness. It can manifest itself in so many ways that aren't even related. It would blow your mind. But then, how do you forgive yourself? That's the real question. Because this is what we're talking about here. We're not talking about other people in your topic, Baka. We're talking about you. Oh, I see you say on here, my coworker pointed out when I made a tiny mistake, my first response is, sorry. Yep.
Did you make that face with it too? I hope you did.
How do you make that face?
I'm so happy you tried. To be honest with you.
Yep. And I realize I do that all the time for tiny things. Yep. I apologize all the time too. I'm an apologizer.
Me too.
Mm-hmm. Maybe annoyingly. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it annoys you that I say I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've done that one. Sorry if I say sorry so much. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought it up. Oh, gosh, I'm sorry. I look like such an idiot now. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, stop saying I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. I remember someone telling me to stop saying sorry, and I was literally typing. I'm sorry. Ryan, no.
Oh, yes. But anyway, so now we're getting into how you forgive yourself. The first step is repentance. Okay? You acknowledge that what you did was wrong. And you say you're sorry for it. And you look at and you're like, you know what? This was a learning experience. I am not going to do that again, especially when it's something like this that didn't hurt people. It didn't, it was not something that was significantly damaging or anything like that. It was just kind of a mistake, right? That's how we learn. And when we repent, a part of repentance is the resolution to not do that thing again and to avoid what led us to do that wrong thing. And we can do that. We do that with mistakes all the time. Thomas Edison said, hey, they asked him, what was it like to, have, what was it like? Was it his 1000th try or something to make the light bulb? Something like that. They're like, what What did it feel like failing that many times? He's like, I didn't fail that many times. I just found that many ways not to make a light bulb. And I was like, okay. And so that's how you know, we learn by messing things up. We learn by making mistakes. That's why I make it fun for my boys, because I don't want them to think it's a bad thing to make a mistake. I don't want them to feel like they have to be perfect, because they don't. It's okay. See ya, Ash. My visitors from trying to make this face. Yes. That's great. So, yeah. So you can repent and then forgive yourself and then be like, okay. And that's how you can free yourself. Now, it still comes back up. I still have done that, and the thought still occurs to me. But you know what? At that point, I can say, I handled this already. I'm not going to handle it anymore. You know, I already did what I could. And that's it. So it's over. And then we can move forward. So the more you can train yourself to say, that's over. The easier it gets. It might be hard at first. It might be hard to get yourself out of the train of thought. But the more you do it, the more you try, the better you get at it, and the easier it becomes. But it's still going to happen from time to time, and you might just have to say, hey, I handled this already and it's over. So, best of luck to you, man. I know it's a struggle. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan. Ryan?
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Thanks for covering topic forgiveness on that. I think that's a huge topic, and I think you did a great job. So
you dropped some subtle hints.
Yeah. But I didn't tell you to do it. But anyways, Baka, I'm gonna come at this from a different direction. And I didn't really think about this direction until Joe was halfway done with his, so I wasn't setting him up so I could talk about something else. In case you thought I was some kind of mastermind, I'm not. So anyways, so here's my question to you. What are you hoping for? Because I think if it's not something that you are like, you recognize that it's in the past, it's not something you should be affected by, but you're looking at it and you're dwelling on it, right? So you're being retrospective. Let me tell you something. I find that in my life, I can think about the past and do two things with it. In my life, I've found two things that I can do with the past when I look at it. One, get emotionally worked up towards the negative and feel bad about it and not move forward at all. Or two, use it to improve and empower me and maybe delight me. A lot of times, personally, and you will probably agree with this, when I think about the times where, how do I say this? If I'm thinking about the past and it brings me enjoyment, it pales in comparison to the times when I'm thinking about the past and it gives me like annoyance or regret or sadness or whatever, right? The emotion of negativity is a lot stronger that I get from the past than the emotions of positiveness. Like sometimes I'll have a great story and I'll tell it and it's like, oh, that was a great laugh. That was great. But I don't tend to dwell on it, do I? It lasts but a moment and it's over. And you're on to the next thing. But if I think about the past and it's something that bothers me, it rings and rings like a bell. It does not stop. It continues. And it forces me to dwell on it. And once I start dwelling on it, I've already lost. I know, because it's like you get sucked in and you don't want to leave. And the reason you don't want to leave is because you're waiting for it to be justified. Right? You're sitting there in the darkness and you're waiting for something, not to just snap you out of it, but something to bring light to it. That's why we dwell there. That's why when we feel those things and we get stuck and we're like, why can't I just say, never mind, and let go? Why can't I get up and just get on with it? Why am I stuck here? Why am I thinking about this? And why do I want to stay here? It's weird, isn't it? A lot of times when we get sucked into those moments, sometimes our brain goes, okay, I got to run away as fast as possible. But if we dwell for a couple of seconds longer, we get sucked into the point where it's like, no, I'm staying here and I'm not leaving. No. When we get like that, right? It's weird. It's because our mind is looking for anything it can to grasp onto to justify our actions or to justify what happened, the experience, the way we felt about it, something to justify it. And I'll tell you what, it's not always there. And at those moments, I like to just say, you know what? That's the devil's game. The devil gets in your head and is sitting there like, hey, I can hold this piece of meat in front of you and you can't have it. There's no justifying anything here. What are you going to do? Feel crappy? Perfect. That's what I want. Like, that's kind of how I feel about it. If you're not a religious person, you know, you believe in devil or demons or whatever, it's totally fine. But that's kind of how I feel about it, that moment, right? So when that happens, you have to recognize it for what it is. It's like, okay, there's no justifying it. Let's move on. I just gotta get up and do something. Sometimes that's what you have to do. You have to get up and do something. Sometimes you just have to get up and eat. Sometimes you have to get up and go for a run, go for a walk, anything. Do the dishes. Work on your instrument skills while you're playing something or whatever it is, right? Sometimes when you get trapped in those moments, that's what you got to do. But back to my starting point. What are you hopeful for? Because what you're doing is you're looking at the past, right? It has no bearing on anything today. It's just kind of you're getting stuck up on it. Why are you looking to the past? Do you have nothing to look forward towards in the future? We have plenty. One of the best ways to combat this is not necessarily getting over them, but starting something new. And I like to call it being thankful. If you are thankful for what you have around you and for what you've had in the past, and you find the good in it, it becomes easier and easier to let go of the things that you thought were bad. It becomes easier and easier to look forward to what's to come. And it makes it easier and easier to make light and find the justifications or the goods that existed in those moments that you're speaking of. Because you're training your mind, if you're being thankful every day, you're training your mind to find those nuggets, right? You're training your mind to find the things in it that are positive. Because again, a lot of times the only reason you're dwelling on it is because you're looking for someone or something to make it meaningful. But it seems meaningless. You look at it and it's like, oh, it's meaningless. There's no meaning. But if you can be thankful every day, maybe, you know, before you go to bed or when you wake up in the morning or both, make it a habit to say, you know what? I'm going to list a couple of things, 3 things, 5 things, whatever it is, whatever you think is appropriate for you to start with. Do that every morning, every night. Be like, that's your main thing. Make that your new thing. Just that. It's easy, simple, doesn't take too much time, and doesn't have to be anything amazing. Joe's classic example, I'm thankful for the toilet. Like, yeah.
Ping pong balls.
Yeah, ping pong. There you go. Those are cool. Thankful for the sport of ping pong. It's neat to watch.
Yeah.
And he goes, And it's fun.
Yep.
There's so much to be thankful for. So if you can train your mind to find things you're thankful for, you are going to get better and better at finding what you're looking for when you're thinking of those moments. If you don't have hope within you, then it can feel all is lost. And these moments will eat you alive. But the thing is, life moves forward, it continues, and there's much to be hopeful for. And if you're thinking about the past and it's making you feel negative, then think about the future. And if you're thinking about the past is making you feel negative, think about what you're thankful for in the future and in the past. Because honestly, there's no point. There's no point in getting stuck up over it, right? Stuck up on it, I mean. And you know that. And that's why you brought it to the table today, right? I think that I really appreciate that you did, Baka.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry for being so straightforward. I know you don't mind. But you've seriously, you've been here for a while, and Joe and I are continuously impressed by you.
Mm-hmm.
You're so awesome. And you've got, one of the things I love about you is that you are so, you are really perceptive of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that you think and the ways that you think them, and you display them for us elegantly. And so we really appreciate you being here and being a part of this and having something to share, and sharing stuff in the chat and all of that. So I just want to inspire you and encourage you to go on your journey forward through that, because man, you're going to be a type of person, as you keep on growing and doing this, and you keep on asking these hard questions and finding the answers, whether it be through us or completely on your own. You know, I obviously cannot solve everything. And you're going to surpass me in many fields of wisdom. But if you continue this path, you are going to be so wise, because you are being perceptive of yourself and perceptive of your others. And it allows you to absorb the wisdom of life. And you are going to be incredible aid to those around you and to yourself, and to the kingdom of heaven as you continue this journey. So I applaud you. You're awesome, Baka. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Joe?
The only thing is, I second what Ryan said. If you can find ways to be thankful, that can help a lot. It can help pull us out of the funk. You know, we had a 3-step process on the old Double Cup of Joe show. What are you thankful for? What are you looking forward to? And what are you going to do today to move your life forward? Think of 3 things. What are you thankful for? What are you looking forward to? What are you going to do today to move forward? And that just sets your mind in a direction of looking forward and not back. Not back at the things that we know we did wrong, that we can't do anything about. It just moves us forward. So I'd encourage you to do that. And I also second Ryan in that you are a very wise man in training. And in fact, I would say you already are very wise beyond your years, just because of exactly what Ryan was talking about. And, you know, you've looked at things, you've gone through challenges, and you've handled them, and you've continued to try. And all these things are foundational for wisdom. So I applaud you along with Ryan. And that's what I have.
Awesome. Yeah, try that 3. Well, what is it again? Write it down
in the chat.
The 3-step. Yeah.
Okay. It's what are you thankful for? Let's see.
Baka, I'm sure you already know this.
Thankful.
I think you used it in Double Cup of Joe.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll write it.
I know Saul did.
Yeah, like all the time.
Yeah.
You might want to talk while I'm writing it down. But what are you thankful for? What are you looking forward to? And what are you going to do today to move your life forward? So, yeah. That's it.
Yeah. The reason I say to write it down is because, Baka, if this is something you think you can do every morning, as you get out of bed and you see, like, maybe write this note and put it on your door as you leave, or write it on your dresser or whatever, just to remind yourself to think about those three things, to start your training on down this road, because honestly, it helps a lot. So, now there might come a day where you don't have to do it anymore, but I think that it's a great exercise, mental exercise, and it's honestly, there's no necessarily graduating from it, because it's always going to be helpful, and I should be doing it. Joe, do you still do it?
When I remember. When I
Yeah.
don't do it, I have a not as good day.
There you go. So it's a good thing to do. So there we go. Waka, thank you so much for this topic. Sweet. Looks like our runtime is 140-ish. So we might be able to throw another one in here.
We can get to meows if you're still here.
Yeah, Meow, you still with us in the chat? I mean, they posted not too long ago, so I'm gonna guess so. I saw their shooting star.
Yes, as
You're
Ash was
star.
going for the evening.
Yeah.
Don't you know? That's an old classic song.
The more you know. That's what comes with the shooting star.
Hey, Ash, you're back.
Oh, hey, welcome back. Dun, ding, your friend didn't want to talk? All right. Hey, that happens. Welcome back.
Yes.
Good to have you with us.
We'll talk. We're good at talking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll talk to you. Anyways, so cool. Looks like Meow is here. So, right. Awesome. Well, this one is titled Social Troubles, and it's from Meowlido. I'm sure no rush, but Princess is probably preparing that. Like, there it is.
Oh, man.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. If I had done it by myself and posted the link, somehow she would have turned out faster than me.
Think so?
Because she does every time.
Not every time, just most times.
99.
It's 100.
It's 100 by just technicality. 99.999 is still pretty much just 100. Still, right?
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah.
That's pretty 100 to me. Okay, so Social Troubles from Meow. Take it away.
Socializing can be hard and stressful sometimes. Today was my first day back at school, so I got to talk to people. Here's a list of some of my social troubles. So often, I want to talk to someone, but I don't know what to talk about. Conversations can be frequently awkward or forced. Sometimes I feel like these conversations with people have no meaning, bless you.
Thank you.
And that they don't really want to talk to me. I have a habit of looking back on the conversation and being very critical of how I did in it. I often wish that I had done something differently and end up dwelling on it. Sometimes I feel nervous about talking to people or joining in on a conversation. Sometimes I'm worried about how people will take what I say. Sometimes I worry that people will make assumptions based on what I say. Sometimes I'll be hanging out with a friend, and a different friend will want me to hang out with them. I want to hang out with the friend I'm currently with more, but I feel guilty about having friend preferences. Sometimes I question why I want to be friends with certain people and not so much with others. I sometimes question why I choose to talk to certain people and not others. I don't have enough social capacity to keep up with all of my friends, but I feel disloyal if I just hang out with others. There's a lot more I could say, but this is getting a bit lengthy, so I think I'll wrap it up. How do I have a conversation when I don't know what to say? How do I get past the nervousness and anxiety of talking to people? How do I not be so critical of my conversations? Any advice is appreciated. Thanks, Meow.
Yeah, thanks, Meow. That's awesome. We really appreciate the topic. It's one that I know that I can talk and Joe can talk at great lengths about. I've learned a lot from Joe on this realm. I feel like he was one of the more influential people in my life about speaking to others, and that might astound him, or he might be disbelieving of that. But I think it's through his journey, and because Joe is not naturally in the position where he's great with socializing,
Mm.
but he learned to be good. And I think that I didn't get to watch that journey, but I got to see the fruits of it. And so it allowed me to study and learn a lot from him.
Mm.
So that honestly, I encourage you, Meow, if you can do anything, listen to what Joe's got to say. I'm sure it's going to be really helpful. Look at those around you who have good conversational skills and try to learn from them, right? The best you can, to be open and observational. I was going to say observative, and I was like, it is not the word. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to give it over to Joe and see what he's got to say.
Well, thanks, Ryan. And Meow, thank you so much for the topic. And Ryan's right. We could talk about this for a while. This was something that I definitely, this was not a natural skill for me at all. I had to read lots of books. I had to listen to audios to learn this stuff. I had to, there was a lot of learning that went into developing social skills. And it was only because I was an entrepreneur and I knew that, the key to being successful in business was being able to deal with other people, because life and business and everything, it's all dealing with other people, right? I mean, if I wanted to just have a job where I sat by myself, and actually that's what I would prefer. I like being by myself, most of the time. There are sometimes, like your brain can be your worst enemy sometimes, right? And so like when you're by yourself and your brain goes the wrong direction and you can't stop it, and you're just like all of a sudden, whoa, okay, I need to get away. I need to go talk to somebody. I need to go to a gas station.
Run away from myself. I can't do that.
I gotta go talk to the guy at the gas station. Okay.
Oh, that's great. Oh my gosh. Can I confide in you in a moment for a moment? Don't. Are you gonna pay me?
Yeah, I'll just buy a thing every couple minutes. Let me get a hot dog off of that roller tray, because those are probably good for me. And yeah, well,
at least in the state that I am in right now.
Can I just eat something. It and talk to you while I eat it?
My gosh. All right. Anyways.
Anyway, so yes, the most impactful book that I can think of when it comes to this particular situation you're talking about is one called How to Have Confidence and Power in Dealing with People by Les Giblin. I believe it was written in the 60s or the 70s, 1960s, 1970s, somewhere in there.
If Jeff were here.
If Jeff were here, he would know for sure. But yes, How I Raised Myself from Failure to... No.
That's the other one.
Nope, that's the sales book. How to Have Confidence and Power in Dealing with People by Les Giblin. Princess just put the link to the book on Amazon. And, yep, that book, because people don't change. People haven't changed in forever, right? So if you really, if you are into reading, even if you're not, it'd be good to get into reading. And that's not a very big book. It's really quite thin, actually. But when it comes to dealing with people, it's very interesting. We have to make it about them. And whether we're introverts or extroverts, we're usually pretty self-focused a lot of the time. I imagine, Meow, you might be somewhat introverted because you're thinking about just the questions you're asking. How do I have a conversation where I don't know what to say? How do I get past the nervousness of talking to people? How do I not be so critical of my conversations? Those are questions that point to being an introvert. That's okay. That's what I am. I ask those same questions myself. Now, extroverts, they might seem like they're all about the other person, but usually they're still all about themselves. But they just like being around other people, and so they'll talk. And you know what happens, though? They're more likely to be offensive and hurt feelings. And people will be around them and tolerate them, but maybe not necessarily be their close friend as much. Because they'll just talk, man, and it doesn't matter. They'll just talk. And, they'll have sometimes they might get the attitude of, hey, I am who I am. I do what I do. I say what I say. If you don't like it, you can get lost. And it's like, okay, later. Smell you later, dummy. But anyway, so
should clarify that that's not all extroverts.
No, that's not. It's totally not.
Yeah.
You're right. But because as an introvert, because we're concerned about what we're saying and how we're coming across, we're going to be much more careful with our choice of words. And we will really have the ability to make people feel good. Okay? So, to answer your questions, here's some practical things. How do I have a conversation when I don't know what to say? You know what? The best conversations that a person will have with you will be when you ask them questions about them and listen to them talk about themselves. As Ryan has famously said on this show many times, it's not about how people think about you. It's not how you make people feel about you that's important. It's about how people feel about themselves when they're in your presence that's important. And if you ask questions of people and listen to their answers and not be thinking of something to say, not be thinking of a story top, not be thinking of a way to relate by something that happened in your life, but instead listen for something to ask about again and draw them out further. So as you're listening to them talk, you will hear something that you might want to know more about. And those are called signposts. So you look for those signposts. And then you can ask them the question about that. So you said that? No, what was that all about? And then they'll talk or whatever, blah, 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 blah. And the more you get good at that, you will be the greatest conversationalist in the world. And you will have said 10 words. And you sat there for 15 minutes. Because you just asked and you took a genuine interest in the other person and you listened to what they had to say. That makes a great conversationalist. Okay? So it's not necessarily about coming up with something clever to say or having some kind of great story or whatever. People will appreciate you when you can learn to ask questions and listen and care about what they're saying. Right? Because it shows. So it has to be genuine. It has to be real. Okay? So, how do you get past the nervousness and anxiety of talking to people? Well, don't think about talking to people. Don't think of it as, hey, I'm having this conversation. Instead, take your mental energy off of that conversation and become what I heard called a prodigious noticer. Notice things in the world around you. Notice the people in the world around you. Notice the pants they're wearing. Notice this dirty spot on the wall. Notice the fly flying around the hall. Notice whatever, notice the stuff. The bent locker at the end, of the row, whatever. And you can learn to notice these things, and those can be conversation starters. Be like, man, look at that thing. you know, or whatever. You know, the more you learn to notice things in the world around you, the more it gives you a chance to say something about it and maybe ask another person if they noticed it or whatever. Hey, man, did you notice this happened? And then they'll start talking, they'll respond to you, and then start back in a previous statement. Listen for the signposts, you know, and draw them out some more. Find another question. Find, you know, that's, and we got to almost think like, hey, we're digging for gold here, you know, and we're you know, asking these questions, and every time we're getting a scoop full of dirt, right? And we're digging to try and find what makes this person tick, right? So to get past that nervousness of talking to people, don't worry about that. Instead, worry about the world around you, and you will find topics of conversation. And how do I not be so critical of my conversations? I would refer you back to a previous topic where we talked about forgiveness. You know, I'm self-critical a lot. In some ways, it does me good because, you know, I get better at things because I'm critical of my performances, right? So I can get better as a result. But a lot of times, those criticisms, especially when it comes to conversations with other people, I had to start learning to treat them all as learning experiences rather than performances. Now, I'm a musician. I majored in music in college. We had these things called juries, where it was a performance in front of a panel of the professors that all just sat there and wrote on their paper. And they didn't even look at their paper they were writing. They just looked at you.
Magic.
Except for the tuba guy.
Devils.
The tuba guy was awesome. He actually smiled.
Yeah, because he's played the tuba.
He's a tuba player, you know, and they're awesome.
Yeah.
But it really started to kind of point me in the direction that everything in life is a performance, right? When it comes to conversations, you're going to run into more people tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and every day. You're going to run into people, and you're going to have more and more chances. And the goal isn't to be good right now. The goal is to be good a year from now. And so every day, it's a learning experience. And you can actually sit there. The criticisms that you think, instead of thinking of as, oh, I'm bad at this, you think, what went right? What went wrong? How can I change it next time? How can I fix that next time? What can I try next time? And maybe it'll be better. So I know I went down the whole practical side of things. These are great questions to ask, Meow. And I want you to make sure, give yourself, play the long game with this. Don't think, oh, I'm going to take this and apply it and I'm going to be good at it tomorrow. Nope. Play the long game. This is a lifelong thing that you can get better at for the rest of your life. And you will always be able to be better at it. But when you shift the focus away from you and your conversation ability and shift it to them and learning about that other person, learning ways that you can appreciate them, the world opens up in a whole new way, my friend. A whole new way. And suddenly there are opportunities all around you of people to get to know and people to understand and people to think, whoa, that's messed up. But they're still cool. But anyway, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan. I know I talked for a while and I'm sorry. But
Oh, no, it's good, man.
there I am apologizing. I'm sorry for saying
Oh, it's all
sorry.
right. I'm sorry for
Sorry,
making you feel
Ryan.
sorry. That's all right. I'm sorry. Anyways, sorry, everybody. So, anyways, I think that was great, Joe. Thank you so much. And I just want to add on to that one little thing here, um, to kind of put it in a poetic way. It's not necessarily what I'm going to say isn't going to be said poetically, but you'll understand it in a poetic way in your mind. Um, if you intend to have a conversation with somebody, right? That's about them, right? That's interacting with them. So if you pay attention to yourself, right, while you're trying to do something that's with them, you can't do both at the same time, right? You can't both be with them and be by yourself at the same time. You're either one or the other. Are you with them or are you by yourself? Right? So if you're caught up in a conversation and you start to notice you asking all of these questions to yourself, you're barely paying attention to them anymore. Mm-hmm. If you're in a conversation and you're like, oh shoot, I feel awkward. I don't know. My anxiety is getting to me. I don't know what to say. What do I say next? How do I relate to that? Like they just gave me no clues of what to say next. Nothing that sounded like, hey, oh yeah, maybe I'll talk about this next. You're thinking way too much about yourself, mm-hmm. right? You're thinking too much about yourself to hold a conversation with anybody else. You already have a conversation going on in your own head. Mm-hmm. Don't try to have 2 or 3.
That's so true.
Right? So when you start to notice that you're doing that, you start to notice you're fishing in your own brain, and your brain is thinking a million miles an hour. What do I say next? Whatever. As soon as you notice that, stop it. If you can. Now, I know that's hard. But as soon as you notice that in yourself, say, Ryan, shut up. Okay, you can use my name. I don't mind. Ryan, shut up. What are they saying? And listen back onto them. Return your focus back onto them. Because here's the thing. It matters more that you hear what they said than if you can continue the conversation. If you can hear what they said and you have nothing to say, that is more valuable than hearing what they said, or than not hearing what they said at all, but being able to continue a conversation that's likely pretty shallow anyways. Mm-hmm. So, because I'll tell you, whenever I try to have a deep conversation with somebody and my head is going a million miles an hour about what I want to say next and the different things, I lose myself in myself and I lose myself to them. And I'm just completely lost, and it's not good. Because I really need to focus on them. Mm-hmm. Why? Because they're valuable. And the things they have to say, they're valuable. If you can remember that, Meow, that the things this person has to say are valuable and they matter, then you know what's going to happen? You're going to treat them like that. If you treat someone like the things that they say are valuable and they understand and they feel that, they're like, wow, this person thinks that the things I have to say are smart, are important. So they're going to love the heck out of you, whether you have the right thing to say next or not. But I'm going to tell you, it's going to come pretty natural that you'll have the right things to say next. If you can look at them with the eyes of love, with the eyes of understanding, with the eyes of recognizing their value, rather than getting caught up trying to make the conversation more valuable. Don't try to make the conversation more valuable. The conversation's value will be present upon the words spoken from their mouths because they are the valuable thing in that scenario. Mm-hmm. The words are words. The words are words. But the people, People are good. People are valuable, right? So if you can keep that in your mind, keep that beautiful thought in your mind, that should help you navigate conversation easier. Take the steps, take the ideas that Joe threw in front of you. It's a great aid. It's a super helpful thing, and if you can make habits of them, it's going to make you really good at striking up conversation with strangers and friends alike. If you want to read to get it ingrained in you, check out the book Joe recommended. But if you have anything to take away, if you're looking for that nugget that will change everything, that nugget that will be like, oh, I can have good conversations now. Again, go for the long game. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be quick. But having a change of reference, having a change of perspective on what a conversation is, can change how you converse entirely, right? So when you look at someone you've never met before, or they're a friend dear to you, maybe a lesser friend or a greater friend, doesn't matter. If you can recognize, holy cow, this person is valuable, and you listen intently to the words that they say, because they're the ones saying them, and they're the ones giving them value, conversation starts to take on a whole different meaning and a whole different light and a whole different world. So I highly recommend that. Meow, does that make sense? Let me know in the chat if that ticks with you, if that clicks with you, if you get it, if you feel that. Also, I wanted to say this. You said this. This is one of your concerns, and I wanna talk about it. You said, I feel guilty about having friend preferences. Sometimes I question why I want to be friends with certain people and not so much with others. I sometimes question why I do choose to talk with certain people and not others. I don't have enough social capacity to keep up with all of my friends, but I feel disloyal if I hang out with others. There's a lot more I could say, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So here's something I want you to consider. You can only make good for the places where you are present. Okay? You can only guide people, change their hearts, be a part of their lives, etc., in the places where you are present. Now, there are exceptions. For example, I write a song, people I don't even know listen to it. I'm not present, but am I? My creation is present, and therefore I am made present to them, right? And so I can have an influence. But mostly you will be, like, my music can be an influence, but the people I meet, I'm far greater of a blessing to them than the people that just listen to my songs, right? And I don't mean to say like I'm full of myself and I think that I'm a blessing. The only reason I have the ability to say that is because I think the same thing about everybody else. Okay? So when I look at somebody, they're an absolute blessing to this world. And I have to recognize that I am too. You can only be a blessing helping people, changing the way that they think, being a part of those moments of joy, or even being a part of those moments which are sorrowful. Those are all valuable, but you can only be present where you're present, right? So rather than questioning perhaps what friends you're around, whether you're around strangers or people you really want to meet or whatever, recognize that you can only be where you are and it doesn't matter. And sometimes unbeknownst to you, you are called to be in a place and a time that's away from your friends so that you can make that impact on somebody else. Your friends are your friends. You've already made an impact, and that's great. And you will continue to do so. But sometimes it's somebody else that needs you. Okay. So you don't always, get to pick how your brain feels about things. You don't always get to pick, oh, I wish my brain was happier about seeing these people. You don't get to pick sometimes. It's a matter of perception, yes, and you can change that, yes. But you don't always get to pick immediately. It's a feeling. And sometimes you just go with your feeling and you go, you know what? I'm gonna hang out with these people today. Right? And in that moment, and when you're with them, be present. Be present to them. And make those moments wonderful and worth it. Joyful, if you can. Sorrowful, even. Again, that can be good. So I just basically want to say, don't stress about that. It's natural. Don't feel like you're being like a terrible human being, because it's entirely 100% natural, very normal. And there's nothing wrong with that. With, you know, I'll tell you what, on top of that, there's this. A lot of people get worked up over this. Around a certain group of people, they act one way, and around another group, they act a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And people think, oh, I'm being two-faced. Which one's the real me? I'm being dishonest to one of them, right? And the answer is no, not at all. We are human beings, and we are fully capable of many different ways of expressing ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
When we meet a certain group of people, sometimes it just clicks with us in a certain way that we feel like we act this way. And then when we get around the other group of friends, we fall more silent. We take on a different role in that group of friends. And that's perfectly normal. In fact, it's not only perfectly normal, it is perfectly good. Why? Because it shows that we have capacity to be many things and to support people in different ways and to lead people in different ways. And so it's a beautiful thing. So don't stress out over your friendships in that manner. All you can do is be in one place at one time and be the best you can be when you're in those places, right? Mm-hmm. To be a good friend. So that's what I got. Hope that makes you feel a little better and understand a little bit about that. But that's what I got. We're currently at 2 hours, a little past. But Joe, did you have anything you wanted to add on that?
I wanted to mention one friend of mine in high school. His name was Daryl.
That's me. Oh, wait, no, never mind. That can't be me. That's not my name.
Daryl was awesome. And the whole time I was in school with him he was a year younger than me. So that 3 years that I knew him, I probably heard him say a few sentences. He hardly ever said anything. He hung around, but he just was comfortable to be around. He would smile, not an over the top smile, he was really laid back, right? And really accepting. And nothing ever, he wasn't into partying. He didn't party much, but it didn't bother him if you were. He didn't get into some things, but it didn't bother him if you were. He'd still hang out with you. He'd still hang around you. He wouldn't really say much. The interesting thing about Daryl is everybody loved him. He's just really comfortable to be around. And he didn't hog the spotlight. He didn't spend a lot of time trying to come up with something clever to say or some conversation to have. Didn't matter if he had a conversation. He'd just hang out. And I say that to let you know that it's okay.
The silence is okay.
Yep. Silence is okay. It's okay to not have anything to say. It's okay to not have to fill the air with words. It's all right. And he was such a great example of that. We get so caught up in this, and what do I say? And oh my gosh, I'm trying to be a good friend. And you know what? He was one of the best of friends to everybody who was friends with him. Because he accepted people, he approved of you, and he made you feel appreciated. Even though he didn't really say much, it was just all in the way he looked at you. You could just tell. And I think the way you do that is you just say to yourself, I love you. I love you. I love you. And you're not saying it to yourself. You're saying it to that person that you're looking at. But you just don't say it out loud, right? You just say it over and over and over and over again in your head, like, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you.
Every sentence they say, you're just like, I love you. And they're like, what? No, I asked you a question. I love you.
Yeah, that'd be.
Are you messing with me?
That'd be a really good conversation.
You're messing with me. What are you doing? Do you want my pizza or not? I love you. Okay, I'm gonna take that as a yes. I love you. I love you. What are you doing to me, man?
Well,
not like this.
That would be really strange and weird.
Yes. That's something I would do. It would be.
Because it would be awkward, and you embrace the awkward for sure.
Exactly.
Yep. But, and Tara, you said it right. A good friend doesn't have to try to be a good friend. You're right. You just got to love the people around you. And that's okay. And love them where they're at. And not judge them for where they're at. You know, because we're all trying to figure it out. You're trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure it out. It's all good. So, but with that, I'm done. Ryan?
Nice.
Take us home.
You guys in the chat, you guys are all awesome. Thanks for posting your comments. Thanks for helping us out and guiding our wisdom and just being a joy to be around. Thank you, all of you who gave us topics. We are really appreciative that you're open with us and ready to talk about these kind of things. And it's just awesome. You guys are amazing. We love you guys. And yeah, thank you, Princess, for being with us, reading the stuff, and also doing all the other things you do, like post the links, tell us how much time we spent on a topic and what time we're at. Super helpful.
We did 4 topics.
Princess, are you proud of us?
Look at us go. She's like,
we are zooming.
Awesome. Yes, guys, we did it. We did 4 in one day. Way to go, team.
Yes, that includes all of you in the chat.
That's right.
Chat was very vibrant. Any word on the Bedrock server? Not yet. I still haven't. I tried getting a hold of Jesse. He's pretty busy right now. So
yeah.
So we'll get there someday, man. I know, because I want to play. I got a new skin, and I want to show it to you. It's cool.
Nice. Yep. It doesn't have the fun. Does it have the funny eyes?
Nope.
Okay.
It does not have the funny eyes. Well, maybe
That's
it does.
Totally fine.
I don't know. I can't remember right now, but yeah, it's a cool one. But anyway.
I believe it. All right. Well, you guys, you're awesome, and we hope to see you next Wednesday. Until then, have an amazing life.
Yes.
That's it. I mean, what is it? The way I ended it? I don't understand what was wrong with that. So yeah, I love the awkward. So, yeah. Bye-bye, guys.
Love you guys. See you next time.